Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of AndrewsFootball.com. Welcome to my 2020 NFL mock draft. Now, if you're new to my channel, there's only one question I got to ask you. Do you like football? Because if you do, you're in the right place. Now, I've done videos for my mock draft first round, and tomorrow's going to be, I'm going to do picks 1 through 32. I'm going to do the whole thing tomorrow, but this video is for the 6 teams that don't have a pick in the first round. I'm going to break down all 6 of these teams and give a prediction on who I think they will select. Special shout out to Jesse, a little dynasty action. First off, if Andrews Football gives you a shout out, it's because you do a good job or you have a good product. I think the world of Jesse. I'm going to put a link down here below. By the way, support small businesses. Get your clothing now when the shit's small, because when the shit blows up, this will probably be double, anyway, I'm gonna put a link down below. It's some good shit. So Andrews Football doesn't promote something unless Andrews Football uses it or respects it. Like you've heard me give a shout out to Luke G Field Review. I'm gonna put that in the link below. It's because Luke G knows what the fuck he's talking about. If you click on the Luke G show, you're not going to find a more knowledgeable Lions base than Luke G and the DSA. When I got some questions I want to ask, I go there. So if Andrews Football gives you a referral, it's because Andrews Football 100% believes in you. So let's start off with Indianapolis, who picks 34th and 44 in the draft. Now, Indy traded the 13th overall pick to San Francisco for DeForest Buckner, and this makes a lot of sense because you're not going to get a better player at 13 than DeForest Buckner, so this makes a lot of sense. However, you signed Rivers to a 1-year deal. Now, this does 2 things. I think that you're instantly an AFC contender. As of today, my 3 top teams in the AFC in this order are Baltimore, Kansas City, and Indianapolis. So you are a contender to go to the Super Bowl with Buckner and Rivers. However, Rivers is on a 1-year deal, so quarterback is 100% in play in this draft. The magic number here is 19. All right, the Raiders pick at 12 and at 19. They're going to use the 12th pick in the draft to draft a player who can help immediately, but at 19 is where I could see the Raiders trading down. The reason being is they don't have a 2nd round pick, but they got 3/3. The Raiders like draft picks, so I could easily see a trade happening here. You got 34 and 44. You could trade both of those, maybe get back a late 3rd or a 4th in return for either Jordan Love or Jacob Eason. That's where the magic starts. Now, if the Raiders don't trade the 19th pick and Jordan Love and Jacob Eason are available, that's when Indianapolis is going to be in play for a trade. Every pick between 19 and 33 is available for the Colts to trade up. However, in my mock draft, I got both Jordan Love and Jacob Eason off the board. And now, when I do my mock draft tomorrow, I may change that and have the Colts trading back into the first round, maybe up to 19. Tune in tomorrow to find out. So, Rivers is always like taller receivers. Now, I got Denzel Mims gone. Jordan Jefferson in this mock would also be gone. I actually think he goes 33 to Cincinnati. Mims 32 to Kansas City. So those would be options. Laviska Shenault or possibly T. Higgins, I think is a little too rich at 34. Maybe he's better at 44. So the 34th pick in the draft, I actually have Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver out of Arizona State, being the pick. And this is a guy who should go in the 20s, but this is a deep receiver draft. So I think he kind of is a guy who should be in the first round. He gets bumped down to early 2nd, plug and play guy. Maybe, becomes Indianapolis's #1 receiver as soon as this year. I think he's that good. Nothing against T.Y. Hilton. He's just on the opposite side of 30. He had some injury issues. If he's not 100%, Ayuk's more capable of stepping in and being a #1 receiver in this offense. Now, Houston is next with picks 40 and 57. Houston's had an extremely creative last 2 years with trades, and I'm not going to go into too much detail over those trades just simply because it would just take probably over an hour to talk about everything that they've done. So let's just talk about the picks here, 40 and 57. Could you draft a Hopkins replacement here? You could, and I think that's what most people are seeing, but not me, because you also have 57, and let's say you want to take a receiver, somebody like T. Higgins would be available at 57. You can Chenault, another guy from Colorado, he might be available at 57. I got him here at 40, and that could be the pick, but when I look at Houston, I think they need more help on defense than offense. And I think when Clowney left, it left a big hole in that front seven. So I think in a perfect world, you'd get a pass rusher, but I'm not sure you're going to get one at 40. Could you trade up? Maybe, but I don't think you do. With Houston, I think the front seven is the key. And one thing about Houston, they like length and size. So the player that I got with the 40th pick in the 2020 NFL draft is Raquan Davis out of Alabama. I'm sorry if I got the name wrong there. Davis is a guy who might be available at 57, but I think is available at 40. And here's the thing, Houston loves size, length, potential. And that's what you got in a ton in Davis. I mean, this is a guy who, at his best, could just be a complete disruptor. With Watt on the other side, could be a lot of fun. And sub packages, move him inside. This is not an end. This is a guy that I don't see him as a pure zero technique. I mean, he might be able to, but I think this is a guy that's on a base 3-4 defense, is a pure defensive end. If you go base nickel, he's a tackle, just a run stuffer. I mean, bottom line, look at the division you're in. You have two 240-pound running backs in Fournette and Henry, so you need size. So that's what I think you do. I think at 57, if you are looking wide receiver, that's where I think you wait. Go ahead and wait at 57. Higgins will be available at 57. So I got Raquan Davis available at 40. Chicago's next at 43. Chicago has picks 43 and 50, but no third or fourth round picks. See, at 43, I think you draft a player here. I think 50, you could trade down, maybe get some extra picks if you need to. But the number one need of the Chicago Bears is to help the quarterback position. You brought in Foles. I think it's going to be an open competition. I think it's Trubisky who wins, but it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. You got to help him, and that's another reason why you brought in Jimmy Graham. The thing is, though, Jimmy Graham's got maybe 1 or 2 years left, so tight end's a definite possibility. I just don't think that there's any tight end that I would put at 43. I think that's just too high. However, if the Bears are thinking that a tight end is worth of the 43rd pick, that's the pick here. However, I think offensive line's a better possibility. With the 43rd pick in the 2020 NFL draft, I got Chicago taking Lloyd Cushenberry out of LSU, day one starter as a guard. You could go in a couple different directions, but here's what I think Chicago does. I think they take Cushenberry at 43 because he's a much higher rank than any one of the tight ends. And then if you want a tight end, you could take a tight end at 50. But what I think the Bears will do is try to trade down from 50, try to get a third or a fourth, take your tight end in the third. There's a couple different options you can go in the third. But for me, Cushenberry's ranked higher than any tight end. That's why I got Cushenberry here, plug and play on the guard. Helps whoever wins the quarterback spot. Pittsburgh at 49 is next. I'm copying a lot of mock drafts, but it makes a lot of sense to me. I'm just going to start fast and kind of do this reversed here. I think Jalen Hurts is the pick. Pittsburgh's been trying to draft a quarterback to replace Roethlisberger, and they haven't been able to. And I think this is a poor man Lamar Jackson. I think that when Hurts becomes a starter, year one, I think he'll be in sub packages. He'll play his rookie year. He'll play immediately, but it won't be as a full-time quarterback. It will be a kind of a wildcat, one or two series a game. But he'll be the starter in 2021, and he'll be used very similarly to Lamar Jackson. I don't think he'll have quite that level of success, but Pittsburgh's got to move on from Roethlisberger sooner or later. I think they do it this year with Hurts. Now, If Hurts is gone at 49, which I don't think will happen, I think the position that you would look at would be running back, because they got some bruisers, but they don't have any speed. The guy at 49, and I don't think he's available, but Jonathan Taylor. If Jonathan Taylor's available at 49, I think that you may even put pause on Hurts and take Taylor. J.K. Dobbins is another guy. I also don't think that he's going to be available. But let me give you two names that are going to be available: Cam Akers and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm sorry, I'm butchering that name, the running back at LSU. If Hurts is gone, I think both these guys will be around and both these guys will be considered. But Hurts to me is the obvious pick. 49 is a little high, but you're not going to get him where you're picking at in the third round. So get him at 49. He'll help you out a little bit this year, and then he's your starter in 2021. Rams are next at 52. The Rams could go in a variety of different directions here, including trading this pick for a player. It's actually an old school philosophy. George Allen used to do this. He used to say, why trade a question mark when I can get a known commodity? Because what he'd like to do is trade away all of his picks and get players. I mean, why pick a player when you have no idea what kind of player he's going to be? And that's something the Rams have done, and it's a little interesting. So could they get rid of this pick and get a player? Absolutely. Could they trade down and get a pick for next year, or move down a little later in the second round? Maybe. In this mock draft, I'm going to have them staying at 52 and taking a player on the defensive side. Now, could they go running back to replace Gurley? Maybe. I mentioned Cam Akers earlier. That's a possibility, but I've got a feeling they're going to take a player on the defensive side. That's just my hunch, and I think that what they're going to do is just take the best player available. I'm guessing how they're going to rank their players, because how I got them ranked and how the Rams got them ranked are probably a little different. But just a hunch here. This is a player I think the Rams really like. And so at the 52nd pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, I got the Rams taking Kyle Duggar, safety out of Lenore. Rain, a small school. They've had success with small school players, specifically Cooper Kupp. So getting a guy from a small school is not something the Rams have a problem with. He's got really good size. So could he do that Mark Barron nickel linebacker type of role? He could. I think this is basically a safety that you kind of use all over the field in obvious run situations. He's going to be in the box, obvious pass situations, has the speed and athleticism to play in the backside. I think this is a guy they can use all over the field. You need size. I think that he replaces Weddle day one. Get a bigger guy who they can use all over, very similarly how they used Weddle in his final season in the NFL. So that's kind of the way I have the Rams picking. Maybe if they have a corner who they have ranked higher, that's definitely a possibility. Cam Akers, do they fall in love with him? That's also a possibility. But I just got a feeling that this is a guy that could go somewhere in the second round, and I think the Rams will like him. And I do think at 52 he'll still be available. Finally, Buffalo at 54. In a perfect scenario, the Bills have the same thing that happened with Philly when they signed T.O. year one, only year one, where you sign a big name wide receiver, you go to the Super Bowl. Really, you're loaded on defense. The only really hole I could see that you may want to fill is running back. Cam Akers, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think are good options here. I think both of them are gone at 54. Zach Moss is one of my favorite players. I think 54 is too high. You could probably get him in the third. I got a feeling the Bills are going to go with a combination of best player available and something that they could use, and that's corner. Three players that I think could be available: Bryce Hall and Jalen Johnson. I got a feeling both these guys are gone. I think Bryce Hall would be a perfect fit for Buffalo. I think he'd be their number one option. Again, I think he's gone. The player who I think's available, and with the 54th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, I have the Buffalo Bills taking Cameron Dantzler, corner out of Mississippi State. He's got length, athleticism. Kind of sort of similar to Tre'Davious White, not quite as high. I love Tre'Davious White coming out of LSU. I like Dantzler, but I think second round here at 54 is a good spot. I think there's a good chance he is available. Not really a plug-and-play guy, but I think in 2021, him and White could be the best corners in football. Definite possibility. A lot of upside with them. So I think this is a combination of being best player available and a position of need, because I think he has everything it needs, everything you need to have a legitimate number one corner. Is he going to be as good as Tre'Davious White? No. But could you call him a corner one or a number one corner? Absolutely, in a few years from now. So these are my picks. Let me know what you think of these 6 picks tomorrow, 1 through 32. I'll see you tomorrow.